Thank you for joining us for Turn the Page with Paige, brought to you by Southwestern Illinois College. I'm your host, Paige Hulsey. In this series, we love to learn the story behind the bedtime stories that children are enjoying by introducing you to the local authors and illustrators that make those works of fiction come to life. But what if we ran out of books? What if there weren't any new books to read or review or anyone new to interview? Well, that's exactly what the bookworm Barry experiences in the world's next greatest book. On a regular visit to the children's section in the library, Barry is shocked to find he's already read everything there. Author Alycia Schneedle joins us here in studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Paige.
I really adore your book. And Alycia actually is local in that she grew up in Granite City. Now, though, you work in now you work in Northern Illinois. And you're a storyteller in books. You're also a professional storyteller. Tell me more about that side of your life.
Well, I'm a hyper-local news journalist up in Northern Illinois. Very hyper-local. We cover 3 small villages, Roscoe, Rockton, and South Beloit, Illinois, and we're a news site. It's a lot of fun. We get to get connected with the community, and we write everything that's going on in our little area, and it's a lot of fun.
It's an important part of journalism.
Absolutely.
To give those people in that community a voice too.
Absolutely. It's a very important job to cover all local news, all aspects of news, even small town news.
Let's talk more about your book. Where did you get the idea for this story?
So, writing, reading, poetry, literature in general has always been predominant in my life. I grew up and I had an absolutely insatiable appetite for stories and books, everything, anything I could get my hands on. I just loved reading, and so often I ran out of books to read around the house, and we couldn't always take a trip to the bookstore or the library, and that's when I kind of developed a passion for writing my own stories. And that's kind of what the book is about, is it's encouraging this new generation, this younger generation, to read, be like Barry, read as much as you can, and write your own stories.
I'm curious, was it a parent or a teacher or a book? Like, what gave you that passion for reading? And I'm wondering, is there something I can say or do for my kids to make them have that same love?
You know, some kids it just connects with them early on, or something could happen at a certain time where books are just kind of your safe space. Yeah. And that's what happened with me. I just felt comfortable with a book in my hand at all times, and it was just a little way to escape whatever was going on with school or stress or anything going on, whatever it was. I'd like to have a book that I can kind of just turn through and escape to, and it was just part of my life. Such a big part of my life was reading books.
It's wonderful. They can take you anywhere, right? Well, let's talk more about your story, the book that you created. And I don't want to spoil the ending here, but what does Barry do when he realizes that he's read all the books?
So in the world's next greatest book, we follow Barry Bookman, and he is a bookworm, and he loves to read. That's his favorite thing to do. And in his free time, he even spends his free time at the library reading. And then until one day, Barry realized he's actually read everything in the children's book section. He gets a little help from a magical book that helps him kind of solve his problem and what to do. And this is when Barry discovers that he can be an author too, and a reader. So.
And I think you could take that literally too, right? As
Absolutely.
a child, you could write your own book. You can write your own life story. There's so many lessons within that you've shared in this book.
Absolutely. It's so important for this generation to read and also to write. You know, I'm really looking forward to reading the next generation stories and the scope of their imagination. I can't wait to see what they come up with. So I really hope that that's what this story does, is encourages kids to write, encourages kids to read.
The character of Barry, he's familiar face to you based on a very special person. We have a photo. Who is this?
So that's my dad, Carrie, whenever he was growing up, around Barry's age, and that's who Barry is modeled after. I wrote the book in 2022. And in 2021, my father passed away. And also in 2021, my son was starting his senior year. So it was kind of the theme of our house, was the discussions all revolved around, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? Follow your passions. Do what is important to you. Do what means something to you. And shortly after that, my father passed away after we were having these conversations. And it was prevalent to me in that, I need to follow my own advice. I always wanted to author a book. Writing and reading has always been such a big part of my life. So that's when I wrote The World's Next Greatest Book. And I hope that it really encourages kids to want to read more and write their own stories.
What do you think your dad would say reading this book, knowing that you based a character off of his image?
He's proud.
Absolutely.
I know he is.
That's so sweet. What do you hope that readers learn or think when they walk away from this book?
I hope that they read that last page and it gives them some hope and makes them feel like they can write their own story.
Before you go, can you share your recommendation for another children's book from another author?
Yes, I can. I recommend for ages up to 8, Meet the Hot Dogs by April Graves. She's amazing, and she also illustrated her entire book as well. And for the older children, ages 8 to 13, I recommend Tabitha and the Kingdom of Shadows by K.S. Michaels.
I'll have to check those out.
Yes, do.
Good. Well, thank you so much for sharing your book and creating the world's next greatest book. You have given me hope, too, in this conversation to be excited about the books that this next generation creates, too.
Yes.
So
thank you for having me.
So good to meet you. Thank you as well for joining us here for Turn the Page with Paige. We hope we'll see you again soon.